Hi everybody, I'm Cambridge English teacher Rory, or Cambridge Rory from studentlanguages.com, and in today's video I'm going to be critiquing an FCE, that's B2 First, email. So let's dive straight in and have a look at this email question. It says, write an answer to one of the questions, 2 to 4 in this part. Okay. Write your answer in 140 to 190 words in an appropriate style on a separate answer sheet. Okay. Put the question number in the box at the top of the answer sheet. Okay. You received this email from your friend Hannah. Subject, summer job. I want to get a job in the summer. My uncle works for a publishing company and says I could work there. It'd be really interesting, but they can't afford to pay me much. Okay, or I could work in the local supermarket. The pay would be better, but it'd be really boring. What should I do? Write your email. Okay, that's quite an interesting question, I think. So, let's have a look. And I'm going to go down to the answer here where I can make corrections. So, hi Hannah. I'd put a comma after that. And I'm going to separate this out again. It may have got changed when it was sent to me, but I'm going to separate these paragraphs out. I won't mark you down as a result of this. So, hi Hannah, very nice to hear from you, and an interesting question. Okay, interesting starts with I, and so it should be an interesting question. And question, I don't know why it's capitalized, it should just be with a small q. Very nice to hear from you, and an interesting question. Okay, that seems appropriately informal, which is good because it's an email to a friend, I believe, if I remember correctly. From your English friend, Hannah. Yep, so it's okay. Can be informal like this. Hi, and you didn't say a word at the beginning, that's fine. Very nice to hear from you, and an interesting question. I'm glad you thought it was interesting too. I hope I can help you with the following options. Okay. Okay. Good. Following is a good word. So let's make a couple of comments down on the assessment scale already. The language seems appropriately informal. Let's just say the language is informal. It is so far. So is informal and appropriate for an email to a friend. There are some signs of less common vocabulary. For example, following. Following is a good word. You've used it correctly with the following options. If you decide, should have an E on the end, to go to the supermarket, you will earn a lot of money, but the job will be all day the same. Okay, should say, but the job will be the same all day would be better. I think you could write this a bit better, I think, with some different vocabulary. I can see you've written all day to try to be a bit different from the question. Really, working in a local supermarket, the pay would be better, but it would be really boring. Okay, it would be all day the same. Okay. So you've changed the words here, which is good. You'd earn more. You'd earn a lot of money. The job would be the same all day. In the rush hours, it is very stressful. Okay, stressful with one L. So if you're doing adjectives ending in full, they should just be with one L. If you're using the word full by itself, it can have two L's, but as an adjective, just one L. In the rush hours, it is very stressful, and the load time will be absolutely boring. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it is very stressful because it's not 100% certain. So you could show off your knowledge of modal verbs or something here and say it may be, or it might be, or it could be. Or it is likely to be. And you can keep the word is. It's likely to be very stressful. And the load times, plural, is there's more than one, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock at night, for example, will be absolutely with an E. And boring with one R will be absolutely boring. Okay. And again, it's not 100%, so you could maybe say something like that. Will probably be absolutely boring. I think there's a better word you could use for absolutely here. Incredibly goes better with the word boring, for example. We don't often say absolutely with boring. So sometimes in English, certain words just go together better than others. Incredibly would be better here. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to the question again. What should I do? Okay. You're not really advising her here, but I think that's okay, because I imagine you'll come on to that. It's just sort of saying how this side of things won't be that fun. I need to make some comments here, so add them into the critique lower down. So I think in the language, there are times when your language is too matter of fact, we would say in English. I'd say then when you could use certain vocabulary, for example, modal verbs, to add more, again, more specificity, like I said about the email, more detail and accuracy to your arguments. Okay, there's a few spelling mistakes, but they may just be slips. They might not be that important. That's quite an important one and interesting. And that's a grammar mistake. So I'll just make a comment about a couple of grammar mistakes. In terms of your content, I'm going to come on to that because we've only read one paragraph so far. And I'll have more of an idea after the next paragraph or two. Communicative achievement. Okay, so you are kind of, well, you're kind of agreeing with her and what she said so far. It could be a little bit clearer, your communication here, in terms of being less definitive, I suppose, and more general. But your main ideas, the main ideas are put across fairly well. They are easy to understand. However, they could be helped again through more better vocabulary, I suppose, greater knowledge. Greater knowledge and use of certain words and phrases, as I mentioned, in the language. So what I mean is using like the modals here could help the communication to be more specific. On the other hand, comma, there is a, should just be without the N because it starts with an S, because satisfying starts with an S. Just put a. An is usually before vowels. On the other hand, there is a satisfying job. Okay, there is a satisfying, on the other hand, there is a satisfying job. Okay, it's a bit general. I would probably say immediately, like publishing, I think it was, is a satisfying job. Yeah, publishing is a satisfying job, because just to say there is a satisfying job without saying what it is a bit too general. I'd like to know what it is. So I'm going to change this and put the word publishing. Publishing is a satisfying job, or maybe not always. So again, we could change it from being definite to can be. And if you want it to be even stronger, you could say can be a very satisfying job. Okay. I'm just doing that to show that they're things that I've added in. You know someone who works there, your uncle. Okay. You know someone who works there. Again, it's a bit too general using the word there. I would say you know someone who works at a publishing company, or if we want to use different words, publishing company, you could say at a publisher's. And we're using more language and showing more language with the use of publishers to the examiners. Who works at a publisher's, your uncle. For your education, will you learn a lot? Okay. For your education, will you learn a lot? I think maybe you mean for your education, you will learn a lot. So I'm going to move this because I don't think it should be at the beginning of the sentence anyway. I think you should say, you will learn a lot. Maybe not will, but again, one of these modals, slightly less specific. You you could keep will and say will probably. I'm just trying to think of a different word because we said likely up here and probably up here. So if you could use a different one. You could say it seems obvious that you will learn a lot, or if you want to say something slightly different to this, we could say there is a high chance. Actually, that would be a good way to say it. There is a high chance that you will learn a lot. There you go. And that you will learn a lot and get a lot of life experience. But you will not earn as much as in the supermarket job. Okay. You should say you will not earn as much as in the supermarket job. I would maybe put if you wanted to keep for your education, you could say there is a high chance that you will learn a lot and get a lot of life experience, which will be good. Which will be good for your education, good for your life in general. I think actually more than necessarily your education. Which will be good for your education and your future maybe. Because I don't know how it will be good for her education. It will be good for her knowledge, for her expansion of her mind, I suppose. Okay. But also for her future, so. Okay, but because I've added that, and now it's better to put a full stop and to start this with something like however. So it's not necessarily problems with your writing here. It's more ways you could improve it to get higher marks. The writing, the ideas I think were okay, but they were a bit lacking. And the two paragraphs to me, it just kind of feels like you've repeated the what's given to you already in the question, and I'd like to see a bit more depth again. I think there was a bit of depth when you're trying to say how it can improve our education, and so I think we can even make that deeper by adding things like your future, and by adding things like different new phrases like there is a high chance. It just shows greater knowledge of language again, and more accuracy in the ideas that we want to put across. However, you will not earn as much as in the supermarket job. Okay. So I'm going to put that into language again. Some signs of less common vocabulary, for example, the word following. Are there any other signs of less common vocabulary? I think there's opportunities to show it, but most of the vocabulary I think is fairly common. There are times when you could use certain vocabulary, for example, modal verbs, to add more detail and accuracy to your argument. Yeah, that's it. That's the point, really. That's the point that I was trying to make. Yeah. Certain use specific vocabulary. Specific and a wider variety of vocabulary. Add more detail and accuracy to your argument. Okay. I'm going to put something into content. That the content on the whole is fine. However, the main arguments could be developed to add more depth, go into them a bit deeper. Okay, I don't feel like you've really answered the question yet, so let's see if you do that in the conclusion. I feel like you're edging towards this, though. Makes sense. And for that reason, this paragraph should probably be longer than this one. I recommend to work in your uncle's company. Okay, yeah. I recommend working, I would say. I recommend working in your uncle's company. Okay. Because you know him. That will give you a good feeling. Okay, yeah. Don't give a big focus on the money. Okay, we don't normally say to give a big focus in English. Could say don't focus too much would be better on the money. Okay, and okay. Please let me know which option you choose. You can just say, please let me know which option you choose. Okay, so as I say, I think it's okay, but in terms of content, but I feel like you could add more in terms of reasons why she could work at her company. Maybe she knows her uncle. Okay, she could learn a lot, get a good experience. Okay, yeah, okay. Recommend because you know him and it'll give you a good feeling. Don't focus too much on the money. Yeah. Maybe add something also in here about the experience and how it could change her life, maybe. And that could be a good idea. But yeah, let's go back to the question. What should I do? Okay. Write your email. Okay. Please let me know which option you choose. Have a good time. Have a good time, comma, Robert. Yeah, okay, I think the content's okay, so I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to say the content, yeah, it's fine. The main arguments could be developed to add more depth. Yeah, I agree with that still. The conclusion could maybe add an extra idea. Could highlight the extra idea made in the previous paragraph. About it being good for Hannah's life in general. Well, I think the main parts are addressed, so I think it's good enough for the content, so I'm going to keep it with 3. Communicative achievement. The main ideas are put across fairly well. Okay, they're easy to understand, however, they could be helped through greater knowledge and use of certain words and phrases. Yes, I also feel like communicative achievement. Yeah, I mean, you communicated your arguments. Sometimes it was a little bit tricky to understand. For example, here, for your education, I'm still not entirely sure what you mean by that. So I should maybe make a note that sometimes the exact meaning is let down by kind of a little bit by the organization, the way you organize your sentence. I think it's probably a lack of language knowledge in terms of sentence structures. I think that's probably what did it. Okay, but I'm still going to give it a 3, I think, because as I say, the ideas are put across fairly well. Organization, it's fine. Got some cohesive linking phrases, like on the other hand again, which is good. You've got separate paragraphs, which is good. You address the main parts of the question. This paragraph is slightly longer than this paragraph. You come with a conclusion. The conclusion could be made slightly stronger. But on the whole, I think I'm going to give that a 3 as well. So the email is well laid out with clearly separated paragraphs, each of which has its own purpose. You have I'm interested. I think it's probably within the word limit, and I think you have given correct quantity, the correct amount of you have put the correct amount of focus on your weaker and stronger ideas, i.e. your stronger idea, which is this, has more to it than this one, and that's good, I think. Language. I can see quite a lot of black in here, so there are obviously problems with the language at times. Be the same all day, the same, okay, that's something. I think maybe it's a bit too simple for my liking at times. Wide variety of vocabulary, for example, mode of verbs have more detail and accuracy to argument. Yeah, I think that's true. There are opportunities to show a wider variety of language knowledge. In here, specifically, high chance, can use different phrases for the same ideas. Okay. Couple of grammar mistakes. Let's have a look at those again. You will not earn as much. don't need the word do. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to give that one a 2, I think. I'm tempted to give it a 3, it's very close to a 3. And I think it's possible another examiner could give it a 3. But I'm going to give it a 2. 3, 6, 9, 11. Okay. So that's very close to a pass, this one, I think. Need 12 out of 20. Well, realistically, actually, you need 24 out of 40. And let's change this in the FCE paper, which is really 12 out of 20 for each writing task. You could get 14 in task 1 and only 10 in task 2 and still pass the writing paper. But yeah, you need to get 24 out of 40. But remember also, you don't need to pass every exam paper. So you could fail the writing exam and still pass the FCE exam. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that was useful again. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to get in touch. And yeah, good luck with the rest of your preparation. Any final comments I'd make is, yeah, I think it was okay, this one. I'd say just keep working, keep studying English, because I think that's all that's missing here really, is just there's a slight gap in some areas where you could use more language and show a greater knowledge of language. But yeah, you're definitely on the right path with this, and I don't think it's too much of a stretch for you to definitely get a pass and possibly even push on even higher. So well done, and as I say, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.